Drive theory states that there is a linear relationship between arousal and performance. When arousal is increased, it leads to increased performance. This was brought forward by Hull in 1951. From the graph we can see the linear relationship. With arousal increasing, the performance also increases. This is one of the earliest theories around arousal. This was later developed by Zanchikov in 1965, stating that the presence of others increase arousal, which bring out a dominant response. We can apply this to rugby. If someone makes an incredible tackle, they are more likely to become aroused due to this. This will then increase both arousal and performance, and make them much more likely to make great tackles and play better according to this theory. This theory is useful as it's true for experienced performers. It's also true for well-learned skills, where the dominant response is the correct one. It is poor for inexperienced performers and assumes low levels of arousal means poor performance, though some sports of shooting require lower levels of arousal. The next theory is the inverted U theory. This theory suggests that as arousal increases, so does performance, the same as the drive theory, yet we only reach an optimal level. If arousal passes its optimum point, our performance gradually declines. This could be applied to Sarah's situation, as her shooting in training is 86%, she is near an optimum level of arousal. Yet during matches, she becomes too aroused and the performance drops. If the task is a fine motor skill, it requires a simple decision making. This has a low level of skill for the performer, which means the performer is an introvert. This means they require a higher level of arousal to reach optimum. For gross motor skills, this means they need a complex level of decision making and a higher level of skill. This means the athlete is more extrovert and doesn't need as much arousal to reach their optimum. Overall, the inverted U theory can be seen as positive as it accepts the worst side of the performer. Yet one curve doesn't explain the different optimal levels of arousal needed for simple and complex tasks. Not all optimal levels in the middle of the curve also. It doesn't suggest if the decrease in performance is always gradual also. The next theory is the catastrophe theory. This theory suggests that performance doesn't always gradually deteriorate as arousals increase. It shows that when we reach our optimum arousal and it continues to increase, we have a dramatic decrease in performance. This is called hitting a wall, as it's so dramatic. Yet the theory also suggests that we are able to rebuild our performance by our arousal lowering, to allow us to calm ourselves down and become prepared again. For example, in a sporting example such as rugby, if we are playing at our optimum level of performance and the opposite team score a try, we have a catastrophe and our performance will fall. We then need to calm down to rebuild our performance. This can also affect our attention field concentration. Neddefer 1976 argued that an increase in arousal levels could change our attention and concentration. He suggested that too much arousal is too much information to attend to at one time. This means our attention field narrows, causing the athlete to attend to the wrong cue. This means the player can't scan the field, which means they have less awareness of the situation. This theory has research which is supportive of the relationship between the two. He has troubles with testing it and can't predict performance of someone. Ives theory is the last theory, and it was brought forward by Hanin in 1986. This suggests that each athlete has individual differences in certain levels of anxiety which are optimum. During this, athletes feel in control of performance and they have effortless performance. It shows certain levels of anxiety are better for different type of people. The skills performed during this brings fun and enjoyment to the athletes, and the athlete's attention concentration is focused. This is all categorized by optimum levels of anxiety. Hanin found that some athletes succeeded when anxiety was low, whilst others succeeded when high levels of anxiety. This means not all people are the same. This theory also shows that anxiety is not a threshold, but a wide band of it. This means that the athlete is simple in the band or they are outside of the band. By looking at the diagram, we can see this. Athlete A shows best performance at low levels of anxiety, while athlete B is moderate and athlete C is at higher levels of anxiety. This theory has brought research which actually supports the theory and is much better predictor than the inverted U, yet doesn't explain how IZOF develops and why our performance is better in certain bands. Elite athletes will then cope with anxiety, stress and arousal much better than someone who doesn't play a lot. This is due to techniques for controlling anxiety and stress. One from somatic which controls this is centering. This is the use of deep breathing. This controls our focus and makes us more relaxed and aware of our situation. And one example of a strategy for cognitive is the use of visualization. This is a process of making a mental image of what the athlete wants to happen or to feel, such as scoring a goal.